Hi friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. So today I am vlogging what I am doing. Why? Because I can. So I tend to take on more than I can handle usually. Or more than anybody can handle. Sometimes because I work alone. So it's just me doing all these things. Well, I went to the guild meeting the other day on Thursday. Today's Sunday now, which you guys will be seeing me again later. But I'm vlogging all this. Actually, it'll probably be tomorrow by the time you see this. But either way. So I took in long arm jobs. I do it every year. These are quilts that will be used for lap quilts, you know, for disabled or whatever, like wheelchair quilts. And I took 5 jobs. Now they're not big, you know, but I do want to get them all done, and I want to get them done fast and efficiently. Well, with that being said, so I watch a lot of YouTube channels, most of you know, and I watch Whirls and Swirls. So Tracy there, just the other, like last week, whatever, I was watching, she posted a tip on efficiently quilting for long arm quilting. And usually I could load 2 small quilts at the same time. Usually the backing is the same size and the quilts and the batting, everything is the same size. But she actually showed something that genius I should have thought of, because I never thought of this. And wow, like, so I'm going to take her advice and I'm going to try something new. So I'm going to vlog my experience of how long this takes, and you guys get some long arm quilting all in the video at the same time. We're going to see how much time gets knocked off me quilting 5 lap quilts. And I also need to bind them as well. But all the stuff came with it, and I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to take her advice, and I'm going to load these all at the same exact time. And to do that, I need to piece some backing fabric. So let's get to that. So here I have 5 quilts. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They all have the top, the backing, the batting, and the binding. So the binding is with them all too. And I need to efficiently quilt these. So we're going to take all the backings to these, and I'm going to try to keep them in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that I don't forget. And I'm going to show you how my way, I'll just do this my way, although I did learn this again from Tracy at Whirls and Swirls. I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to sew them, you know, together. So let's get to that. All right, so here is number 1. Now, I do know that these quilts go from the within the selvage from top to bottom in the length of these backing fabrics. So what I'm going to do is open these up, and I'm going to stitch them all together like this from selvage. Let's get that open. To selvage. So this one, here's the selvage. I'm going to go from this side to the other side as if like I was doing strips or something. I don't need to straighten these up because the long arm, I'm going to be loading the quilt straight, so this part won't matter. The only thing that matters is this one is a directional print. I don't think it honestly matters because the quilt is going either up and down, so it's not going side to side. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy and this guy right here, and I'm going to put these right sides together, and I'm going to sew from the selvage to the selvage. But I'm also, I know the camera should have been put back. I'm going to see, you know, one might be shorter than the other. And that's okay, because on the long arm, again, I can adjust everything. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch. I'm just stitching a 1/4 inch seam. I'm cutting all this apart. So it really doesn't matter. Like on a normal backing fabric, I stitch almost a 1/2 inch because I stitch along the selvage instead. This time I'm stitching all these together. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch them together. Oop, I should have back stitched because there's going to be tension pulling on these, but I'll get that with the other side. This will just be the one that doesn't have it stitched that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch all 5 of these together like this. I'm just adjusting as I go. Here we go, right there. And this can be one really, really long piece. And when I get to the long arm, it's going to seem so very long. And I have a nice fresh bobbin in here so that I can do all this because there's a lot of stitching going on today. I normally wouldn't stitch this much together, but this was a genius idea. I am glad I watched her video because this should make today's experience so much quicker. And I didn't backstitch again, so let me run over it like that. There we go. It's double stitched here, and I can even do it on this side. There's a double stitch. So now I'm going to take this other end like this, and I think what I'm going to do now is put you guys in a different view and turn some music on while I stitch the rest of these together. Okay, so I am now out here at the long arm, and I just have the most longest backing fabric I have ever sewn together. So I know that this was quilt 1. So what I'm going to do, because this is so long, and I'm not pressing any of this, I'm just going to leave it, because when I roll it up, I'm going to smooth everything out anyway. So what I'm going to do is literally take all of this. We're going to see how much time this really saves me, because normally I would do one at a time, unload it, put another one on, unload it. And with my red snappers, it goes so fast. But this, genius. So we're going to see right now how much more efficient this really is for me personally, because of, you know, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work. I'm telling you, genius idea here. So I'm going to unsnap my ends. I'm going to pull my bar right here so that my snapper thing lays right here on top, just like this, so that I have, you know, a way to snap it on. And I'm just going to straighten it out. I'm going to lock my tab at the end so that nothing turns when I'm trying to do this. And I'm going to take these right here, nicely flat. Nothing, I'm not centering anything. Just going to lay this on here. And I know that this is the width of the fabric, so technically I only need one of these. Look at that. So I'm just going to snap this one on, just like this. Everything's nice and flat. See how much time this saves me. Because if it saves a lot of time, I'm definitely loading multiple quilts like this. I'm just worried about the bulk that's going to end up here, because I only have 18 inches, but I'm not quilting fancy ruler work or anything on these quilts, so I'm pretty sure this will be just great. So now I'm going to unsnap my pin at the end, and I'm going to start rolling this up, and I'm just going to keep it flat the whole way. Should roll it pretty quick, hopefully, because it's literally within my standing distance, and I just have to straighten that end as I go. Everything's nice and straight. And if the microphone rubs, I'm very sorry, but you know, I wanted you guys to hear me. So I'm just keeping it nice and straight. It's kind of hard with all that backing fabric. Let me go back there and make sure that it's going to keep winding up flat like, because it's going to shift a bazillion times. Just keep all these nice and flat the whole way. I mean, so far it doesn't seem to be taking me a long time. I could imagine if I was pinning that it would probably take a lot longer, but. All right, so I got this all, should be nice and flat. One of these backings was definitely bigger. It's actually this one was bigger. It has like an inch hang off, so I'm making sure that everything stays nice and flat. And I'm just rolling it up like this. And just going to keep rolling and rolling, and give me 2 seconds. You know, when I'm filming, I have to stop every now and then because I'm not the only person in this house. So I'm just rolling it up, and I'm going to go ahead and fast forward you while I do the rest. Okay, so now that I've gotten it all the way on this one, I'm telling you, that is a lot of backing fabric. I've never put that much backing fabric on here at one time. So now I'm going to go over to the back. I'm going to snap this in place so that it doesn't move anymore. And then I'm going to take and put my other snaps on the back side. So let me keep the machine out of the way because, you know, it's probably in your view. I'm going to go around to the back. And I am now going to pull this out, up and around, just like this, keeping it as flat as I possibly can, all the way. Keep that nice and flat. All right, this is nice and flat, just like that. I'm going to pull it onto that bar just a little bit more, so you probably won't see me straightening it right there. I might have went too far. Yep, I went too far. I need to go back just a hair, just a hair. Bam! So now I'm just going to pin across, or snap, across this end. So I'm just going to kind of adjust it just a little. I don't want too much hangover, just enough. So now I'm just going to snap this on here. And I should tighten this bar too, because that one will try to roll away from me as I'm hooking my snapper on. Just like these. So obviously I can't do this every time I quilt because this bar would get so full, you know, I would never be able to quilt with my full amount of throat space. So that's on there. Now all I need to do is drop it, roll it, and roll this other bar and this bar until they are nice and flat. And this stayed so flat this whole entire time. So now all I need to do now is prep the rest of everything. And for that, I'm going to pause you. Well, actually it won't be a pause. But I'm going to go grab all the quilts in their order and lay them in their order that I'm going to be loading them. and then I will come back on to show you how I'm loading them. And I gotta hook my side clamps and turn the machine on, put some thread through here, and then you could either hang out on the machine or you could watch what it looks like from afar. So we'll see, maybe I'll move the angles more than once. So I'll be back. Okay, so while I have bobbin rolling, oops, I'm gonna grab the batting to quilt 1, and I'm gonna see which way it goes, and it's gonna go this way. I am going to put my pokies down like this. I'm gonna load it right up to that edge because this first quilt back, oops, the first quilt back doesn't actually have, it doesn't have that extra 4 inches that we would normally like. And since I use my red snappers, those alone take up more than an inch of space. So I definitely need extra room. So I'm just going to load this. And like I said, these are so simple, easy quilts here. Just going to center this on here. Usually I don't center. I kind of shift it to the side, which I can if I want to, but I'm going to put this right here. As long as my foot right there can come right up to it, it's nice and straight. And I'm going to start with quilt number 1. I'm going to slide this under, and I'm going to go ahead and back this up just a little bit, like that. And now I'm going to baste across the top here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it in base mode, half inch stitches, and just baste across the top, just like this. Keeping everything nice and straight. And now stop it. I'm going to adjust because sometimes when you're basting, it shifts the quilt top. Did you know that? I did. So just know that it could shift it just a little. It's not a foolproof thing. Just because you have a long arm doesn't mean everything's going to be perfectly straight, perfectly flat. Every now and then there's something that makes things move around. So now I'm going to go ahead and baste down the side, keeping everything nice and flat, nice and straight. I always double baste. I don't know why. I think it holds good. So I'm just going to go across again. And then I come to this side. I'm going to get rid of those start stitch hangies. Some people leave them. I don't. Come to this edge, and now I'm going to go down this side, keeping everything straight and flat. Just like this. And there we have it all basted, and now I can start quilting number 1. So for this one, I think I'm going to do a flower and leaf, simple stuff that goes super quick. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the machine at 10 stitches per inch, and I'm going to change your position just a little bit so that you can just watch the quilting from a different angle than you normally would. So I'm going to start quilting now. And I'm just going to use loop-de-loops to get around. You guys have seen me quilt this before. I just wanted you to see how I move around and stuff while I'm doing this. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to quilting. Okay, so I have finished quilt 1. As you can see, here is the connector for quilt number 2. So what I'm going to do now, and I have a feeling that all 5 of these are not going to work, because you could see I'm already really thick here and I'm getting less space. But we're going to see how many we can at least go before I have to actually just cut it off and clip it on and start all over, because I have a feeling that this method might not be foolproof, especially for my size frame. Although I do have a 12-foot frame, it doesn't mean the space between my bars have enough room between my idler bar and my take-up bar. So we're going to see right now. I'm going to roll this one on and we'll do number 2, and then we'll see how much space we have left after number 2. I have quilted a very large quilt with thick batting and got right to the edge of this and it was hitting it. So I have a feeling that it's already thick enough. We're going to see. So let's roll this. Just like this, to where I have exposed the top part to base down quilt number 2. Oops, let's go just a little bit higher. Right there. So here it is. Let's put some clamps on the side. And again, I'm going to be quilting different motifs on each one of these so that they're not all exactly the same and they don't take all the same amount of time. So let's put some batting under quilt number 2. So I'm going to just find my top and bottom. I'm going to put pokey side down because that's the side that was needle punched. I'm going to move that over. Line this right up to the top. I'm hoping this is enough batting for this one because this one kind of looks short, but we're going to see right now. Right here to the very top, everything's nice and flat and flush. And let's grab quilt number 2. They may be small quilts, but they might take up too much space. Okay, so we're going to take this as high up as we can. Oh, and there is enough batting. Yay! I don't think they would have given me quilts to quilt if there wasn't enough. So I'm going to go ahead and center this on here as best as possible. I'm going to have a nice straight line here at the top. Cotton batting really helps when it comes to flattening it on here. Keeping everything nice and straight. I always look at my end right here and see if it's straight, and it is. Just need to fix the batting right there though. And I am not changing my thread color, although this would be the time to change it if you're trying this method. But I'm going to leave the same thread color the whole entire time for everything. So I'm going to go ahead now and baste this one, 1/2 inch baste. And then I'm going to change you guys a different angle so that you can just watch it be quilted. So again, I will have some shifting. I do not have channel locks, so I do this all by eye and the holding of the machine to keep everything nice and straight. So once I get that top basted, I just adjust it so that my side is nice and straight. Come down it. I just keep my machine straight. I try not to move anything. Just like this. And I always go back the other way. It's just habit. And I never have to break the thread when I do it like this. Now I'm going to come down this side. Keep it all nice and straight. Come back to the top. Stop right there, trim my starter threads, and put it back in precision mode. All right, so let's change you guys positions and work on some more. All right, so here we go. This one is ready, and I'm just going to start quilting, and I will put you in fast forward with some music. Okay, so number 2 is done. As you can see, it's a lot thicker, but I still have room. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this up until number 3's backing is exposed. So here we go, rolling it. So there's number 3's backing. So we're going to come all the way to right about here. That way I know I can make a nice straight line, as you can see. So my throat space is literally all the way to the edge of this. I'm going to put my side clamps back on, and we're going to go ahead and load number 3. So here it is right here. It's ready. So let's grab number 3's batting. Pokey side down, which is this way. All right, so we're going to put this up here. I'm going to move the machine just out of the way, barely. And then I'm going to line the batting up, just like this, right up to that seam pretty much, so that I know it's nice and straight. All right, so that's on there. Let's put the quilt top on. Some of these battings don't look long enough, but they are. It's a visual thing. All right, so we're going to put this guy all the way to the top, right at its seam pretty much. I have plenty of space. All right, so I'm just going to go right here. It looks nice and straight, but I always look from the end because the seam isn't always perfectly straight, but it looks straight to me. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my machine back over, and then I'm going to put it back in baste mode. And then this one, we're going to drop that and baste across the top. Again, it's going to shift because that's what it does. You could push a little pressure down on the side of your machine bed if you want, but I kind of just let it go because I center it anyway. And then I adjust. So I'm just going across the top. Now I'm going to go down the side, but first I'm going to adjust it. Oops, I need to leave my needle down. I'm going to adjust it nicely. Everything's nice and straight. Going down the side. Back across the top, because that's what I usually do. Again, if you wanted to change thread colors doing something like this would be the time before basting this. Would be to change your thread color. All right, so I'm gonna come down this side now. It's nice and straight. Go back to the top, put my needle down, change it into precision, and for this one, I'm just gonna put you back on it so you can watch me quilt it. All right, so for this one, I'm just going to do all over meander, but come back across it and make a ribbon. So I am at the end now of number 3, and if I roll this up right now, you're going to see this is going to start touching right here, my idle bar and my roll-up bar. So this is now too full, I think. So let's see what happens. I'm going to roll it up. We're going to come right to that end piece, and I'm going to see, and nope, it is way too full. So what we're going to do is I'm going to snap it right here. Normally I don't do this, but we're going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut on the pink side, and I'm just going to go like this. Right there. So it works for 3 lap quilts, and I'm going to undo this bar right here. And we're going to pull this off. So there's 3 quilts I was able to do. No. And now all I need to do is take this piece right here, flatten it out, take the end that I just chopped, and I'm going to loosen my bar so that I can bring this up to my tray right there, pop it back into place, keep everything nice and flat. Oops, it's going to keep falling on me. We're going to lay this right back on, and I'm just going to take and put my red snapper clamp right on it from one side to the other. And I'm blocking the camera, and I'm sorry about that, but all right, so I'm just gonna hook it down just like this. All right, it's on there. Just gonna roll it up just like this and tighten it. And I have a little sag in this, but that means I could have just pulled up a little bit more right there. But I'm gonna leave it because they're just donation quilts, and it's really not gonna make that much of a difference. With my side clamps on, it'll pull it a little bit tighter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and reclamp now. Just like that. So that means I can get 3 laps within 3 lap size quilts within my throat space. So we'll put you back right here. And we're just going to load number 4 now. So I'm going to go ahead and put number 4's batting on. Find its lengthwise. I got the pokey side down. Just going to load it right up to the top. So I have a nice straight line, just like this. Got the same amount of hangover on both sides. I'm going to grab the top now, just like this. I'm going to center it on here, just like that. We can get these last 2 done, so I'm just going to baste it real quick. Oops, come on. Sometimes it gets stuck under the foot. All right. So I'm going to baste it down. I'm going to straighten it. Before I do so, I'm going to look here at the end and say, nope, I need to come up just a little right here. Oops. Be best if it was in basting mode. like always, it shifts just ever so slightly. Not too much, but enough. Just to slightly have to adjust everything. Now I'm going to go ahead and come down the side. Within my throat space. I'm going to go back up. Across the top. And down this side. Just like this. Put my needle down and stop right here at the top, just like that. All right, so now we're on number 3. I'm going to go ahead and put you back in fast forward while I quilt number 3, and I will see you at the end. This is number 4. Sorry. When I get to the end of number 4, I will just go ahead and load on number 5, and by then the music should stop and you'll see me again because I'm going to show you how to cut all these apart. But the first set is 3 of them, and then there'll be 2 on the second set. But, still, that is very efficient, and you saw right now that it loaded pretty quick on the in-between, having to cut it off. It just got too thick, and I don't trust having it too thick because it'll push down on my idler bar, and it'll rub against the base of my machine, and that's just not good. I want efficient quilting as well as being efficient with my quilting, if that makes any sense at all. I'm trying to keep it a good flow. So I'll see you when I get ready to trim them. Okay, my friends, so there are 5 quilts. 3 are on one long section and then the other 2 are on their own. So I'm going to show you how to cut them all apart and square them up. So we're going to start with the first 3. So let's see if I can find the beginning. I think it started with this quilt right here. So here was quilt number 1. We're gonna slide this up on here like this. It's a good thing that these are not enormous because that would probably have made this whole entire thing so much harder. So here's quilt number 1. I am going to make this easy just for this part before I trim, and I'm going to go ahead and right here at the seam, I should be able to just slide my scissors come on, right there. So here's quilt number 1, and now I'm going to keep these in order because I don't want to lose the order that they're in. So 1, and then this is number 2. I'm going to take it again all the way down to the bottom where I connected them and just slide my scissors across. All right, so there's 1, 2, and here's number 3. And remember, I cut this one already off. So now I'm gonna grab number 4, which is the green backinged one. So that would be this one. So I'm keeping them in order. So here's my number 4 one now. I'm gonna separate it from number 5. Come on, keep going. There we go. So here is 4, and number 5 just fell on the floor. And we're going to start with 5 and then stack our way up because I have all the binding already ready in a order on the ironing board ready to bind these. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm just going to start trimming these apart. And I think while I do that, I am going to just go ahead and put you in fast forward after I quickly explain how to do this. Big cutter. If this was poly batting, I would not use a Martelli cutter because of this thing gets in the way. I would use an open cutter. But for these are cotton and they're not very thick. I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge and with an edge. And I'm going to go ahead, keep it nice and straight. They're not very big, so it should go pretty quick, like this. And I just move it out of the way as I go, and then I keep this straight along with this right here on this side, just like that. And I don't need any of that. That's just garbage. I'm going to turn the whole entire thing right here. I'm going to go ahead and not only straighten the ruler on this side, but I'm also going to straighten it on this side. And I'm going to repeat these same steps with each and every single one of these lap quilts. So, time for fast forward. Okay, so here are all 5 quilts. I totally did not see, some of them are like a tad bit bigger than the others, but they are approximately 36, 37, about 37 to 38. One is about 39 by, let's see, like I said, they're lap wheelchair size quilts. 36, 46, 56. So they're about 38, 56-ish. So, I mean, like I said, some are a little bit longer than others. I do need to bind all of them, but I'm going to spare you all that because that's just going to go on for the next, rest of the, well, not rest of the day because soon is Sunday and I need to take a break before that. So technically you'll be watching this on Monday probably, but like I said in the beginning. Anyways, so that is how to efficiently quilt. It took 5 hours on the frame, and between all of the all 5 of these was 164,000 blah blah blah. So stitches, 1,000 stitches, 164,000 blah 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 stitches. That is how many stitches are in all 5 quilts together. The machine ran, it was right before 5 hours, but with all my moving and cutting and adjusting, I give it 5 hours. So I got all these lap quilts done in 5 hours-ish, maybe a little bit more because of the moving around, and plus I was filming, so all smooshed down to this little video for you guys to see. So was it efficient to connect all those backs together? Yes, it was. But it isn't efficient because you can only do 3 lap quilts at a time. If these were bigger, like twins, I would probably only have fit 2 in a row, and so on and so forth. Now, if you wanted to, say, quilt just a bunch of small projects and you're using the same backing, like Tracy says at Whirls and Swirls, just load a 108 backing by 108 and just start, know where you want them to lay and just start placing all your things on there like a puzzle and quilt them all. This particular way that I did, obviously, again, I only got 3 in a row and then I had to cut it. But I mean, I have the red snappers, so it's not like I really had to do too much extra work to, keep the last 2 going. So yeah, I feel that this was very efficient. My time, I didn't have to stop, undo one, take it, load another, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have to do that. So that was definitely helpful. Definitely helpful. So I really want to thank Tracy at Whirls and Swirls. If you ever see this video, thank you for that 100% awesome saving way for me, because I just saved myself an extra at least hour of nonstop taking it off and putting it on. So that was good. And it's still the same day, by the way. It's Sunday. I started early this morning. Well, now it's Monday because you're watching this, but oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm going to let you all go because I'm just going to ramble on forever, and you guys are going to see me soon, and I'm going to ramble on forever too. Even though it's again tomorrow. So that is to efficiently quilt 5 lap quilts. I did it that quick. Awesome. This is how you can save yourself if you own a long arm, and just piece all your backings together. At least 3. 2 if it's a twin. And well, I wouldn't do any more if it's a queen, because like you guys saw, the take up bar takes up too much space between that and the leveler. I don't want to fill that space up, but different long arms have different setups and maybe a smidge more room. So, but yeah, all 5 done. That was quick, that was easy, and that was painless. So on to the next video. Thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe right there and like this video and share it with your quilty friends. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.